do you deal with the low paying clients? I believe pretty much every freelancer has some point in their freelancing career has asked that question to himself or herself. So there are certain ways you can deal with a low paying client. If you're starting, let's say you don't have much experience or something like that, you are starting as a fresher, then the situation for you is totally different as someone who has been working as a freelancer for more than 1 year. So let's talk about the first scenario where you are just starting as a freelancer and you have say 1 or 2 or 3 months or working for one project or two projects. In that case scenario, you don't have much option to walk out on the client. Why? Because you have to build a portfolio, and remember that there are tons of freelancers with the same industry which you belong to, which are ready to hog your work. So you have to be very smart when you say no to the client or when you say no to the client. So let's say you have a client which is paying you a $20 per hour, but the work you are delivering to the client values around $30 or $40. What can you do in that scenario? Make the client notice. How do you do that? Have a conversation with the client, like tell that what are the things that you are doing is an extra value to do that, and put it like this: hello, I've been noticing that in last few days I've been working certain things which were not included in the proposal or not included in the things which we have discussed. So I would like to bring it to your attention. Since I'm starting, I would like to mention that I would just increase my price $5 or $10, whatever dollar. That's the first way. You increase your price a bit, a small jump. Or the second way, you can say it like this: I noticed that our work has been increasing seriously. It is quite a bigger increment in terms of my time, involvement of time and the task. So I would like to inform you or update you that I'm doing this for free because I'm growing my portfolio. But after this tenor works, which ends like this month or next month or whenever your tenor ends, or you can end your tenor on your terms after a month. You can decide when to end that tenor. So when you end your tenor with the client, you can increase the price. Like you can give the exact figure. Like let's say you're working at $20 right now, and you discuss with the client and you tell that after this tenor ends or after this month end, if you want to continue with working with me, this will be the updated figure. Now that's the second way to put it in front of the client. In first way, you certainly put it in front of the client. Second way, you try to take advantage to build your portfolio. Like if you are a very looking for to build your portfolio, I would suggest take the second approach because it tends to work better if you are starting. Now another situation would be like if you are on a project basis. This was if you are working on hourly basis. Remember, if you are working on hourly basis, it's easier to convey when you are doing lots of other things or lots of things which are not including in the scope of work. But when you are working on a project by project basis or by a fixed scope of work, in that time, getting out of the client or making it the client aware of what you are doing is not included is a kind of a risk which most freelancers are afraid to take. They are afraid that what if the client stops working, or what if the client doesn't agree on the payment and something. Remember that this fear is what making the client have advantage over you or have an edge over you. So forget about this fear. This is not going to help you. The best way to is, if you don't want to increase the price, is perfectly fine, but make the client aware of it. It will help you a lot in the future. In terms of when you're working as based on scope or project basis, communicate with the client like this: what I'm doing right now in the past few days is not included in the scope of work. Since I'm new to this field, I'm doing this to build my portfolio. But if you want to continue working with me, I will charge. This would be my revised rate, and this would be the updated pricing for this project. Now that's the when if you don't have experience or you just want it, or if you can put it like very clearly. I noticed that in past few days the work has tremendously increased, and these works were not included in the scope of work or in the project scope. So I would like you to bill for this works which are this, and then you tell the client which is like this, and you bill for that client. Remember that the client will not work on you. If the client is really keen on getting the job done, he or she will not work on you. Two main reasons for that: you are already halfway through the project. Second, the client needs you more than you need the client. Remember that, because finding a good employee or good freelancer is another or a very different challenge. So if you are doing a great job with the client, then don't worry about asking for the increment or extra for your efforts. You're gonna get paid. I promise you on that. Now let's come to the situation when you have tons of experience and then you want to raise or you want to increase your price depending on the work increments. If you have an experience, then you can simply walk on the client. Like let's say while you're working on the client and you notice that the client is increasing the work intentionally, like the client knows the work is increasing and he's just brushing it off, you're trying to, then you just walk on the work client. You can do that because you have experience and you won't lose much there. So just walk on it. Remember that a piece here is better than the piece in your wallet. It's literally 10 times better. You cannot wrap a good work when the client is just wants freebies and takes way much amount of your time. You can invest that time with another client which is better than the client you're working with. Second scenario, if you still want to continue working with the client, you don't want to walk on it because let's say it's a long-term project, or it's a 6-month project, or it's a contract basis project, like whatever the reason is, in that scenario I would suggest you schedule a call with the client and you take a note of everything that you're doing on a on a sheet or a Google sheet or on your notepad. You take notes on that and how much time you have invested in that. You put it in front of the client, like these are the things, and you put it in a nicer way. You don't need to be abrupt at it or like just like that. You can phrase it nice, like hello, I'm noticing that our work has been increasing due to the increments of the features, or due to increase on demands, or whatever that is the reason. You phrase it with a cause. You don't just blatantly go and say that you want to you are doing a lot of work and you want to charge for it. No, you have to attach it with the goal of the project. Like since let's say you are making a sales funnel and then suddenly 2-3 more pages got added, or certain features got added, then you have to make it like sound like this. Since we are trying to cater to a new audience and we had to take make sure that those audience converts, we have added some extra features, and these features were not included in the scope of work or the discussion we had regarding the project. So I would like to bring your attention to these features which are this, and for this the cost would be this. I would be more happy if if I can include this in my next invoice. That's how you do it the second way. But remember that if you told this to the client and then the client goes R-O-E-O, like all those weird noises and finds tons of excuses to avoid you, then you already have a red flag there. That's the biggest red flag you can get. And let's say after you discuss that client, then mention you send the invoice and the client just doesn't reply or something like that, then you stop work. You don't work. You don't go ahead with the project, because those are the red flags where you should stop working for the client which doesn't agree on paying for your effort. Remember that the time that you invest cannot be earned back, but you can find another client and get the same money for the efforts you did. So that's why I focus on quitting the work if the client doesn't want to pay you for the work you have done outside of the project or discussed scope. I hope this gives you better clarity on how you can walk out of the situation where you don't get paid less, or where you don't feel that getting paid for the effort that you put in. Thank you.